The market collapse and the economic collapse is being done by design. It's so blatant. I don't get how people don't see this. We're going to go right to the chase here. Here's Jeremy Siegel being interviewed on CNBC, and he is exasperated. He's like, why is the Fed raising so heavily, so fast, when last year they were saying inflation was transitory? Why are they doing that, said Jeremy Siegel? He's beside himself. He's obviously not part of the globalist cabal. I can't play you the video, but I will link to it for sure through Conservative Treehouse. This is it's so blindingly obvious to anyone who can see. We've known since day one on this green scam that we've known this. The energy consumption is going this way. Green stuff isn't going to replace this. It's not. Green stuff is just a tidbit down here. It's so low. And so the only way for, quote, net zero, they don't care about net zero. They care about the fiefdoms like it used to be in the old English times of the earls and the dukes and all that stuff. So what they have to do is say, we need energy consumption to level off. Instead of going like this, we need it to level off because we hate humanity. We want people to take things into their body that can make them, you know what? I don't know. I don't want to know. But it's so blindingly obvious, my friends. And so the market's falling off a cliff is just that's a benefit of their wanting to reduce energy consumption. It's right here. This is like listening to Grandpa rail against the Federal Reserve and central banks without realizing the motive behind what the Federal Reserve and central banks are doing. This is the best example of the great pretending. Here's Jeremy Siegel. He rails against Jerome Powell and the central bankers for raising interest rates into a collapsing Western economy. Everything he outlines is essentially accurate about the damage being done to Western economies, except the biggest realization and acceptance is missing. It's being done by design. The people he outlines are not making a mistake. They're doing it on purpose. So the U.S., the EU, Canada, Australia, and other Western economic central bankers did not respond sooner to the inflation crisis because the central banks were waiting for the politicians and their systems to establish the energy policy that their pre-planned action was intended to support. Once the Build Back Better energy policy was established in 2021, and after the resulting inflation created the justifications for the central bank action to slow the economy. And only then did the central bankers trigger the next phase of raising interest rates to reduce Western economic activity and support Build Back Better. I don't know how people don't get this. It's weird to me, man. Do you not think these two things are not they're happenstance? Do you not think, is the economy growing like crazy? Hell no, it's not growing like crazy. No, it's just not, dudes. We all know this. We know this for a fact. So we have an economy, we know that just because we have had 2 consecutive quarters of a decline, inherently recessionary. A Q3 may or may not be up. Atlanta said it's going to be probably negative. It's going to be 0. Who the hell knows? All I know is no growing economy. It's certainly not growing in the West or the Western Europe or Europe as a whole. So you're raising rates significantly into a declining economy to beat inflation back. And that's their excuse. All it's doing is going to make more people unemployed, more reliance on UBI, more reliance on government. It's brilliant in its execution, actually. None of this was by mistake. The process, strategy, and timing were all part of the Build Back Better agenda. Purposely create inflation with high energy costs because Putin is in on it. He's a young global leader. Have him invade Ukraine and then shut down the gas line. I mean, it's so blind. It's so obvious to me. And he didn't. Sundance at Conservative Treehouse isn't saying Putin is in on it. I am. I think Putin is 100% in on this. The result of the energy policy was planned and used by central banks to justify rate increases. And the reason I think is because personally create inflation The result of energy policy. Now, the result of energy policy would have been inflationary sooner anyway than later, but still not as quick as it happened with Putin. And in fact, the issue that comes to mind is at some point there could be a transition, like I think what's happening in Italy right now. We'll see. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all one big globalist cabal. But where I'm going with this is that they might say we don't have that many years left to get this. We don't have that much left. Boris Johnson with freaking Angela Merkel and whoever the clowns are that runs the show now, with the stupid idiots in Italy and Macron. We don't have that much time. The populists are rising. We've got to get this done. We got to get this done. If they felt comfortable that they can manipulate enough things to get the Macrons, the Trudeaus, all that for another 5 to 10 years, there would never have been a Ukraine invasion, never. But because they say we got to get this moving ASAP, because we just don't have that much time. You see what I'm saying? That's what's caused this. I could be wrong. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. There's no way. Now these bankers are trying to collapse the economy to meet the reduction in energy production. The bankers are supporting the political motives of the politicians. It's all intentional. Jeremy Siegel misses this core and fundamental aspect. And here are some lesser ideological Western leaders are starting to get cold feet. So here we got that's the biggest enemy right there. He's gone now, thankfully. There's German. There's the EU. Where's Macron right there? There's Japan. I'm not sure who that is. Is that Italy? I think that might be Italy. I don't know who that is. Anyway, that guy looks familiar to me. Anyway, so we keep going down. U.S., Canada, France, and Australia / New Zealand are all in. Sniffy Joe, Baby Castro, Jacinda, she's getting pummeled in her support. Macron, and this is the EU clown right here, the most powerful person in Europe, are unwavering and all in into their commitment to build back better. All their central bank control officers are also all in, including Christine Lagarde. These unflinching ideologues are not going to budge, but some of the politicians within their economic systems are. We got Japanese was the first to express reservations about the collective goal to sink their economy. Olaf Scholz, I think he's a Green from Germany, is also realizing he may not survive unless he cuts the cord tying him to build back better. The recently installed Liz Truss is also trying to untangle the knot tied by Boris Johnson. I was a fool. I support him. I support George W. Bush. I was a fool, man. Unless Liz Truss is looking pretty good. I'm pleasantly surprised. Getting rid of the banning on fracking. Trying to cut taxes and a couple other things she's trying to do too. So far, so good. Jeremy Siegel is correct as to the outcome, but he, like almost all Western financial pundits, are blind to the true motive. Siegel is blaming it on incompetence instead of going back to the original Build Back Better design as openly expressed by the central bankers, 100%. The collective Western leadership said this exact scenario is what they were going to do out of the useful COVID pandemic. Does people not remember that Sniffy Joe said, we're going to end the fossil fuels? Obama said, by design, electricity prices are going to have to skyrocket. Did they not remember saying we're not going to have any more coal, any more oil, any more gas? I mean, how do people, this is literally within only the last decades, dudes. The Western leaders during COVID openly stated they're going to use a time of lowered economic activity by the scandemic as a gauge. Oh no, did I say something wrong in my terms of service? Because I have people watching every word I say so they can ban me. To measure and deploy a permanent change in global system of energy development. The pandemic exit was a gateway to the economic transition of Build Back Better. Throughout 2021, traditional oil, coal, and natural gas exploration was reduced by policy. Inflation skyrocketed, and while the central bankers waited like kids playing double Dutch jump rope, wait, and then the energy policy cemented, Build Back Better, the Inflation Reduction Act. Now they can jump in and raise rates. The timing was by design. Build Back Better, Build Back Better, Build Back Better, Build Back Better, weekend, Build Back Better, Build Back Better. Build Back Better, Build Back Better, Build Back Better, Build Back Better, Build Back Better. It's freaking scumbags, dudes. So the question is it too late? We got Liz Truss there, and I'm not putting my faith in her, trust me. But she's a hell of a lot better than Boris Johnson. She's a hell of a lot better than Theresa May. We got this lady right now getting ready to hopefully win. Brothers of Italy leader Giorgia Mattoni. She's far right. She's a conservative in America. She actually used a flame as a sign of the trademark of their party, and they hadn't used a flame since Mussolini. Everyone's like, oh my goodness, fascism. Anyway, so I'm very much hoping she can win. I 100%. Will that be enough? I don't know. We got Orban obviously cementing in Hungary. There's another one. I can't remember. Then we got our own elections here, the off-year elections. I'm not sure there's enough. We'll see, man. We'll see. I mean, people aren't going to sit tight on high energy for a long time. This energy crisis will not be a one winter story. This is from oilprice.com. Founder and director of research on energy aspects told Bloomberg on Friday, this is not a one winter story. Let's just make this very, very clear. Are you not familiar with Europe will need to ration demand in order to be able to balance the market, not only this winter, but the next couple winters as well. Rations are bad. Are we not familiar with the 1984? It appeared there had even been demonstrations to thank Big Brother for raising the chocolate ration to 20 grams a week. And only yesterday it had been announced that the ration was to be reduced to 20 grams a week. Was it possible that they could swallow that after only 24 hours? Yes, they swallowed it. The eyeless creature of the other table swallowed it fanatically, passionately, with a furious desire to track down, denounce, and vaporize anyone who should suggest that last week the ration had been 30 grams. Syme, too, in some more double complex way involving doublethink. Syme, swallow it. Was he then alone in the possession of a memory? So they had a ration of 30. They reduced it to 15, and they raised it to 20. People are like, thank you for the increase to 20 from the 15. It's the same. It's the same thing, man. Anyway, so the question is how much. We still have somewhat of a functioning democracy in terms of their ability to vote. I'm not talking republic versus democracy. I'm just republicanism. I'm talking about you still have a functioning democracy with your ability to vote. How much of that do you? I don't know. And you should exercise your vote, because at the end of the day, that still keeps people somewhat keen that you're still exercising your right to do so. Even if, I'm not going to go further because there'll be people say he said he's a denier. The problem that we have, though, is how much damage can they inflict. I don't know. Is it? See, I don't think the damage is all encompassing. It's slow, a slow, methodical damage. You see what I'm saying? And what they're doing is this huge inflation push, big market collapse, big economic collapse. There'll be the dead cat bounce, more collapse, dead cat bounce. You see what I'm saying? It's not going to happen all at once. I know the story about the frog boiling. I know that's fake, i.e. you can't slowly boil a frog. I get that. But it's still a good anecdote nonetheless, or metaphor, I guess. Yeah, I guess it'd be metaphor, where you put a frog in some water and he slowly boils himself to death. I get that doesn't actually happen, but I still find it interesting as all can be. And this is what is meant to happen. There's no two ways around that. Well, what do you do about it? Well, you got to pay off debt, too. So, I mean, it's just all there is to it, man. Deflationary economy is dead. And I think I pointed this out. I was surprised to see it. There's some guy who's been head of banks for many years. I don't know who he is, but I can't remember where I found this today. Dear Fed, what if it all doesn't work? What if stocks go down with bonds? What if unemployment goes up? What if credit spreads widen? What if real estate goes down? What if commodities start a deflationary spiral? What happens when the banks get in trouble? It's 1990s Japan. I've been saying that for years. 1990s Japan, which means having debt in a deflationary environment is bad. Love your thoughts. We'll see ya.